Okay, it's a new day, and we're going to start with stripping the varnish off of the interior trim for the hatch. And some of it's in halfway decent shape, but I don't know if it'll focus close enough, but you can see that it is peeling on the edge and it's getting a little crispy. So we're going to sand it down. I don't know if I'll remove all of it, but definitely at least got the loose stuff off and see how smooth it is, because it doesn't look like there's a lot of buildup of varnish on it, so I might be able to get away with just feathering it, so we'll know when I get in there. So as normal, the normal tools that I'll use is I might use the heat gun, but I'll try scraping it first. So I'll use the variety of scrapers that I have and then sand it with sandpaper, sanding block, and I do have my trusty vac to vac up the dust, and we'll clean it and we'll either strip it or try to put some varnish on it and try to blend it in. So I might be able to blend it in because it's so thin, so I'm going to try that first because it's the least labor intensive. So that's it for now. Well, we're in close quarters combat here, so I have no place to attach my camera, so I'll just show you what I'm going to start doing with this varnish here. I'm going to use my little scraper. I'll try to find a link and put this in the description. This is like the world's best scraper. It's got 3 carbide tip blades, and you can rotate them and they'll last like forever, and there are spare blades available. Basically it's just a matter of, I just want to loosen it up the best I can. That's like my first pass, is to just get anything loose off. And then I'll try to blend it in with some sandpaper. And underneath the hatch there is some boat life sealant between the wood and the hatch. There's some boat life there. So I know the previous one I like boat life, and he used a lot of it. So I'm not trying to really do anything other than remove the loose varnish at this point. Sorry for the shaky cam. I'm just trying to feather the edge of the varnish so there's not a big lip. This is not the easiest thing, holding the camera with one hand and scraping it with the other. Trying to look at the viewfinder and do the work. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell for this step. I will go around the rest of the hatch, so this is just one side. I'll continue to work on this, and then I will show you the final product, and then I'll show you the next step when I get to it. So we're back. So in a nutshell, what I did was I scraped the top part of the varnish here, the part that was loose, and that's the only part that was damaged. All around the hatch was just the top area, probably from rain coming in, and just sitting there and just degraded the varnish, because it might have got underneath the varnish somehow. So I scraped it, and I scraped it pretty good, and I tried to feather it in so there's really no hard lip on the varnish, so it's really smooth between it. So it's like a ramp, if you will. So what I need to do now is give it a quick sanding. So I'm going to start off with 100. I have a little, I was going to use a block, but it's really kind of tight in here to use a block. So I'm going to use a little piece of sandpaper and just sand it, all the bright spots, and to clean the grooves in the wood. And then after I use 100, I will use 220 to make it smoother, and then wipe it down, and then start with our varnish routine. So that's it for now. I just wanted to show you what the next step was, and when I get to the next, when I'm done with this, I'll show you the finished sanding product and then going on to the next process. Thanks again for watching. Okay, we're back, and I finished sanding the first sanding. I used the 100 grit sandpaper to get some tooth into all of the wood and varnish. So I'm going to smooth that out by using some 320, a lot finer sandpaper. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to use some red Scotch-Brite to get anything that the sandpaper may have missed. And then I will clean it and start varnishing. So that's where we are now. I think you understand the concept of sanding wood, so I'm not going to really get into it. It's just going to smooth out what is there, because these are really, really rough. Sanding marks are really aggressive. So I'm going to sand it down a little smoother, and then go with the Scotch-Brite to get even smoother, and then we can start varnishing. So I just wanted to give you a quick update. Okay, we're back. So I've done the first sanding and the second sanding. So now I'm going to go over the varnish with some red Scotch-Brite, and this will really kind of get into all the little nooks and crannies that the sandpaper just couldn't get into and prepare the surface for varnish. So that'll probably be it. I will come back once I'm done to give you a final overview before I start varnishing. Okay, so here's the final product of all the sanding. It's really, really, really smooth, and it's got a nice tooth in the varnish, so the new varnish will stick nice, and it should blend together nice. So I'm happy with this, but the final verdict will be once I put the varnish on. I'll try to do the first coat after lunch, and we'll see how that goes.